let's welcome my fellow colleague from Zabbix, Kaspars Mednis, training project manager at Zabbix. Welcome.
Here I am again with another technical speech. Okay, let's see what we have this year. Data collection and pre-processing internals. So let's start with very basics, okay, how it works. In Zabbix, when we collect data, we have multiple stages. First, we need to collect data somehow. Yes, so we create items, we create hosts, and we collect data. After that, we pre-process the data. Yes, so there are many ways how we can change the data. Maybe we need to multiply, maybe we need to extract values. So we pre-process the data, and after that, we detect problems. Yes, so this is actually very simple. If you are using Zabbix, you know this workflow very well. Let's look a little bit deeper inside. So, in all previous versions of Zabbix, till this September, this workflow was implemented. So every metric which was collected was sent to pre-processing. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if there was a pre-processing or there was no pre-processing. Everything was sent to the pre-processing. And then the pre-processor decided what to do with the metric. It worked, yes, but there were some issues because first, this increased the load on pre-processing, okay, because the pre-processing must read the metric and check it, right? And also, if something goes wrong with the pre-processing, then every metric is affected. Yes, even if the metric does not have any pre-processing. If you have troubles there, all metrics are delayed. So what we did this year, you can see the version, right? 7.0.17, 7.4.2, improved logic. So now, it's pretty smart, right? If the metric has pre-processing steps, it is sent to the pre-processor. If the metric does not have any pre-processing, it goes straight to the history cache. Yeah? So this is much better logic, but in real life, maybe, let's say, don't be too excited, right? Because remember that every dependent item uses pre-processing. Yes, so most modern templates in Zabbix, they are built on dependent items. Yes, so they are still going through the pre-processing. But all other items, which are simple items like CPU load, of course, they will bypass. Here is a Zabbix at the bottom of the slide, so you can read more. Okay, now let's talk in more details about data collection, how it works. Right, so we create hosts, we create items. Each item is unique. Each item has a type, update interval, unique key, timeout, and other settings. Currently, we have 19 unique item types. Yes, you can see all of them here. Yes, every of them is unique. Starting with the Zabbix agent, the oldest one, yes, and browser item. Why so strange numbers? Why I have 90 types and the browser is 22? Because during evolution of Zabbix, some item types disappeared. Okay, a long time ago we had like SNMP1, SNMP2, SNMP3 as different item types. Now they are SNMP. And then how the data are collected. So you create the item, each item has unique type, and each item is collected by its own, each item type. Each item type is collected by its own data collector. Okay, this could be Polar, this could be Trapper, this could be Pinger, or anything else. Yes, so when you tune Zabbix, you should know which items you create will affect which data collectors. Yes. To make it, let's say, more complicated, in Zabbix 7, the data collectors can be synchronous or asynchronous, okay? And that makes a big difference in tuning. Yes, I will explain in the next few minutes. So most of the data collectors, they are working in synchronous mode, yes, but agent polar, HTTP polar, and SNMP polar are asynchronous. What's the difference? So synchronous data collector, you start a process. You start a process, and that process can collect a single value at a time. Okay? Let's say if you need to collect 5 values at the same time, you need to start 5 pollers. That's very simple. If you need 20 values to be collected exactly at the same time, you start 20 pollers. Why you cannot start infinite amount of pollers? Because those are processes, okay? They consume memory, they consume CPU. Yes, so there is always some kind of fine-tuning involved. And because of that, we implemented the most popular data collectors, which means SNMP, Zabbix agent, and HTTP, as asynchronous pollers. Okay, what does it mean? Each of them can collect up to 1,000. Okay, so you don't need to do all this like fine-tuning. Maybe you have a large instance. Okay, instead of 1, you will start, let's say, 3. Okay, you start 3 of those asynchronous data collectors. You can collect up to 3,000 at the same time. Yeah? So you have much better limits. I think some of you have seen this slide, but once again, yes, the same like visually. So this is how synchronous works. Yes, you send the request, get metric, send the request, get metric, send the request, get metric. Yes, very simple and asynchronous way, right? So Zabbix just sends a lot of requests without waiting for answer, okay? And then it gets back some answers, and it sends more requests and gets back other answers, yes? And this process continues. And this is how we can achieve, let's say, 1,000 times better performance. And yes, so each of those collectors has configuration parameter. Yes, so you need to tune them. When you install Zabbix, Zabbix is not tuned for serious production. Yes, you have very limited amount. In this situation, let's say pollers, okay? You have just 5. Enough for the start, of course, but not for serious production. What you need to do, you increase them, 20, okay? Yes, you look how busy they are, you increase the numbers, restart Zabbix server, and you get better performance. And then there is another issue. So data collectors, they are designed to collect data, okay? Especially the synchronous collectors, and they are very valuable, okay? Let's say you have only 5 of them. You have only 5 of them, and they must run smoothly and collect data all the time. Now, what happens when you lose connection to some host? The data collector is in trouble, okay? Because normally, data collector collects CPU load in some milliseconds, maybe 2 milliseconds, maybe 5 milliseconds. So it can collect lots of metrics. If the host is unreachable, it gets a timeout, right? It goes to the host, and it waits, and it waits, and it waits. So it wastes its resource, yes? Because of that, we have designed this, let's say, way how to do it, yes? So once the host is lost, we have unreachability period. So the host is now checked only every 15 seconds. If during this period there is still no response, the host is checked only every 60 seconds. Yes? And this is done by specific process, unreachable poller. Yes? So those unreachable pollers, you normally don't need them. If your network works perfectly, you don't need them at all. They are idle. But once the trouble begins, once the host goes offline, those unreachable pollers, they start to handling all the hosts. Yes? So normal pollers, they collect metrics. And unreachable pollers, they will work with those hosts who are unreachable. Yes? So you always must keep some reserve for the potential issues with your network. How to tune them? Config parameter. Yes, find the parameter, start pollers unreachable, 5, maybe 15. Yeah. All those delays. Okay, on this screen you can see 15 seconds, 60 seconds. Can you tune it? Of course you can, right? Yes, so you can change the delay, You can change the unreachable period, and you can change the unavailable delay. Should you do it? Up to you. Yes, for me, typically the default settings work just well, but it's up to you. And asynchronous. So, as I said, you need only limited amount of them. Yes, you don't need to start 20 agent pollers. Yes, even for big instance, 3 or 5 would be okay. Yes, but yeah, once you have them, and they have this parameter, maximum concurrent checks per poller. Yes, which is set to 1,000. Maybe you have some other use cases, but I still have not found any case where you need to decrease it. So you just keep it at 1,000, and that's all. Yeah? If you have some specific scenario when you need, let's say, less than, maybe after the speech you can find me and we can talk about it. Yes, because I have not found any case when you need less than. Yes, and well, so how to know how good or how bad is the situation? Use Zabbix templates. Yes, every Zabbix server comes with a health template, and every proxy comes with a health template. And you just look at the templates, you just look at those simple lines or those graphs, and you see, oh, this data collector is in trouble. I need more. Yes, so don't ignore it. By our best practice, what we do, we keep the data collectors not more than 60% busy. Okay, so you always have some reserve. Yes, if we talk about asynchronous data collectors, well, normally you will not have any troubles. Yes, but for synchronous, yes, look here, and maybe you need to tune something. Okay, now I think this is very valuable slide. So those 3 are asynchronous. Yes, you can see agent, HTTP agent, and SNMP agent. Item types are collected by those data collectors. Then the black ones, those are synchronous. Yes, you can see, by the way, that poller is still used by a lot of items, right? So SSH, simple checks, external checks, telnet, and script, they still use poller. Yeah, so pollers are used by more than one item type. And then you can see all other types. So this is very good reference for tuning. Yes. Then we have some data collectors which are single instance. You don't need to tune. You just start them or don't start them. And Zabbix internal poller is always started. And then we have dependent items. Well, dependent items, they don't have data collector, right? The dependent items extract data from the master. Yes. But as I said, this is a very good slide, and you can later use it to tune your instance. You will quickly find out which data collector needs to be increased. Proxies. So proxies follow the same rules. Yes. There is no difference how data are collected by proxies or by Zabbix server. Yes. So use those hints to tune Zabbix server, and use the same hints to tune proxies. Yes. But okay, if you are working with proxies, just remember that you also need to get data from proxies. Okay, you may have a perfectly tuned proxy, but remember you also need proxy pollers or trappers to be able to get the data from the proxy. Yes, so 2 more important processes. And agent, well, we have 2 generations. We have agent and we have agent 2. One is C-based and runs basically on any coffee machine. And one is Go-based and requires Go language. And the Go agent doesn't require any tuning. It just works, yes? But if you are working with a C-based agent, well, it has parameter start agents. Yes, because the agent itself is a data collector. Okay, the agent is a software installed somewhere, right? And those start agent pollers parameter means how many checks it can collect at once. Yes, so there are many situations when you have some slow scripts, some slow user parameters. So probably you may need to increase the amount of agent pollers. Default is 10, not bad, but there are situations you need more. And timeouts. Don't forget about timeouts. Yes, we have discussed it a couple years ago, that Zabbix now has very flexible way how to define timeouts. But my suggestion, set the timeouts exactly as they should be. Yes, look how fast is your network and set like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, because if you increase the timeout, you may have negative impact when something goes wrong. You know, when something goes wrong, more and more data collectors will become busy just waiting for the timeout. Yeah? So the timeout should not be too long, unnecessary. Here it is, yes, so you can tune them, yes? You can tune them globally per item type, you can tune them per proxy, and you can tune them per item. Per item is especially cool thing, right? Because I think a lot of you have those like slow scripts. There are a lot of fast items like memory, CPU load, and then there is this one script which runs for 40 seconds. So you don't increase timeout on everything. You just increase timeout on that one slow item. And okay, at the very end, you have queue. So you have tuned all the timeout, you have tuned all data collectors, and the queue page, it shows how much the data are delayed. Okay? Some people a little bit misunderstood this. So this page is not showing anything about Zabbix performance. This is showing data collection delays only. Okay? Because data collection is like a train schedule or bus schedule. The metric should arrive on time. If the metric is not collected on time for some reason, it appears here. Yes, so you can use it for troubleshooting, and this is live. This is live. This is collected from Zabbix server. Okay, that was the first part. Now let's go to the pre-processing. Well, you can do a lot of things. Yes, so you have your metrics, and there are a lot of ways how to transform them as you wish. Yes, here are just some examples. First, pre-processing is performed by both Zabbix server and proxies. Yes, which is actually a great thing because you can somehow, let's say, distribute the load between proxies. Okay, if you have a lot of pre-processing which needs to be done, you can start more proxies, and this can be used as some kind of horizontal scaling. Yes, because at least some of the processing will happen on servers. Here it is, how it works in Zabbix 7. Very simplified diagram, but what we have here. So we have some data collectors. If the items has pre-processing steps, so only those items with the steps will go to the manager. Manager will put them into the pending queue. So pending queue are items waiting to be pre-processed. And then there are pre-processors. Yes, you can start many of them. By default, in latest versions, we have 16. Yes, and those pre-processors, they process values in parallel. Once everything is processed, they will put it in the processed queue, and it will go to the history cache and database. Yes, so basically, looking here, the only part you need to tune is here. Yes, so if something goes wrong here. Yes, you may need more pre-processors. Yes. Some more details. Well, on a well-tuned instance, you will not notice anything. But if you have any troubles inside pre-processing, there are quite simple rules. So all the normal items, they go to the pending queue. Yes, and probably they are delayed. Internal monitoring items, they have specific VIP line. They have immediate queue. Why? Because if there are huge problems, it's in pending queue, and huge problems with pre-processors, you want to see it. You want to detect it, right? And if your internal metric is stuck in the same queue, you will not see it, right? So internal monitoring has high priority. You are always seeing the current state. And tests. Okay, you are humans. You don't want to wait, right? You press the test button, and you want to get back the result immediately. You don't want to wait in the queue. Yeah? So test requests also go quite fast. This slide looks like complicated, but the main idea is we try to pre-process as many metrics as possible in parallel. Yes, so they arrive in parallel. We have 16 preprocessors, or maybe we have 100 preprocessors, and everything is processed in parallel. Yes, sequential preprocessing is only required, let's say, for master item, dependent items, or some other specific use cases. And this is how you can troubleshoot. Yes, it was critical before this September, because everything was going through the preprocessing, and it was really critical. Yes, now some items will bypass. But the internal templates, they have a couple of important graphs. This one, you don't want to see this picture, okay? All the preprocessors are 100% busy. That's not good, yes? And this is even more catastrophic, because this is a preprocessing queue, okay? So some people are having like little bit panic when they are seeing spikes here. Spikes are normal. Spikes happen. Yes, you have the queue and maybe you have some small spikes. That happens, don't worry. But if you see this, you are in trouble, right? Because with every second, the preprocessing queue is becoming bigger, 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 bigger. It's not recovering. It will never recover, right? What to do? Typically, you just start more preprocessors. And we have new metrics. Yes, so because now metrics can bypass preprocessing, there is a metric like preprocessing queued VPS and direct VPS. Be very careful when you look at this graph, because you may get it wrong. So the red line means how many values went through the preprocessor and were preprocessed. And the yellow line displays only LLD rules. Okay? So the yellow line is not displaying bypassing items. The yellow line is displaying items which somehow went into the preprocessing without preprocessing steps, which currently are only LLD rules, as I know. Yes, which should be very low. Yes, but this is not items with or without preprocessing. Yes, this graph represents all items which went into the preprocessing. Other way how to troubleshoot, diagnostics. Yes, tomorrow I will have a workshop, so you are welcome. Yes, and we will let's say we will design some situations and we will try to diagnose them. And yeah, so I just proved it for myself that it works. So if you have problems with preprocessing before 7.0.17, you have this. Problems with preprocessing, all the metrics are delayed here. Okay? New logic from this September, you have problems with preprocessing, and yes, of course, metrics with preprocessing are delayed, right? But this one, CPU load, it still like bypasses, and you have the most current readings. So it is better. It is better. Okay, and do you like this picture? Yeah, it's very simple. It's a very simple picture. This is how Zabbix works, right? Nothing complicated here. On the left side, in green color, you can see the data collectors. Then you can see that the blue line, which means data with preprocessing goes to the preprocessing, and data without preprocessing, which is a green line, just bypasses. Yes, so now, basically what is changed is every data collector has two options. Yes, send the metric to the preprocessing if you have some steps, or bypass it. But still, at least for me, this looks a little bit too much, right? Too many green boxes, you need to tune all this. Can you simplify it? You can. So this is Zabbix server, which is collecting all the data by himself. And this is Zabbix server if data are collected by proxies. Simpler, right? Yeah. So if you are collecting data with proxies, of course, then you tune all this on your proxies. Yes. But for Zabbix server, you don't care about it. For Zabbix server, you get the data. Data are already pre-processed. Yes. And yeah. Basically, I think on this diagram, I can completely take out the pre-processing. Yes. There is still one blue line, but it's only for active agent items. Normally this pre-processing should not be involved at all. Okay, so here is some summary. This is what I told you. Okay, start enough collectors, monitor how many collectors you have, how busy they are, maybe use some diagnostics, and your Zabbix instance should be in a good health. Okay, as I told you, tomorrow I will have a workshop. I think it's around 4 p.m., right? So you are welcome. We will simulate a couple of scenarios, right? So we will have some issues with pre-processing, some issues with LLD rules, some problematic items, and I will show you how you can use Zabbix diagnostic to quickly find that item. Because there are a lot of cases when there is like one troublemaker, one item which causes a lot of troubles, yes? And you can use diagnostics very easily to find that item and then fix it. You need to bring your own laptop, yes, but everything else will be provided by us, yes? We will provide you with individual cloud-based virtual machines, so no worries, yes? Just bring a working laptop with internet. Okay, that's all.
We do have a question about data collection. I don't think you touched upon this, but I'll read it. If someone were to ask you which agent to install on their monitored devices, whether Windows or Unix-like device, which agent would you recommend? In my experience, there is no reason not to go with agent over agent 2.
Okay, so this is 2025 now, right? Yes, and I would recommend agent 2. Really, yes. So if your system is not very limited on resource, like if you have more than 64 kilobytes of RAM, I think Agent 2 will work just fine. Yes, we had some issues, we had some problems when it was like a new product just introduced. Now it's very stable, it works, and it has better architecture, okay? You need to fine-tune the data collectors on Agent 1. Agent 2 can do like 1,000 checks in parallel for a lot of item types, yes? So for a lot of item keys, sorry. Yes, so my choice is Agent 2, yes? But of course, up to you.
Okay, thank you.